Preach on. Yes, that's what I like to hear. Nowhere else can you get this on the Boston dial except for on Black Talk Radio. Let me let you know, yes, you are listening to Dr. Jewel Pookrum, the author of Vitamins and Minerals from A to Z. Doctor, what other information do you have out there where
Well,
folks
let me just tell you, this is the bottom line and the last thing.
Yes.
And this is what I teach my patients, is that fear and anxiety is a chemical reality in the blood. And so this is why it's so important that we have to seize the time and take control of these media that are constantly filling us full of fear and insecurity, because they shorten your lifespan as you listen to them if you don't have a built-in mechanism to know that individuals who are shot, raped, robbed, or whatever, that doesn't have to be you if you align yourself with the order of the universe. So what they're telling you is that these individuals are not in alignment with the bigger order of things, and because they're out of order, they walk into chaos. You do not have to have that, and I don't like it that people are walking around in chronic anxiety and fear, because those chemical realities, and I will say it again, anxiety is a chemical reality in your blood. Fear is a chemical reality from your blood that is made by your own brain. When you think that you're afraid, when you think that you're anxious and stressed out, your brain makes a chemical analog to the thought that is flooded through the nerves, flooded into the bloodstream, and totally changes the normal functioning of all of your cells. The first system that is totally knocked out is your immune system.
Now,
and that is one reason why there's so much disease appearing to be created from funguses and bacteria, because these individuals are stressed out and are afraid.
You put some information out there. People want to know, how can they get more information? How can they reach you? Does your practice extend further than Decatur, Georgia? Or...
Yes, it does, and I've had to establish some unique ways of practicing to help my fellow man. So I work by internet, I work by telephone, etc., because truly the truth cannot be held back.
Have you made any, have you knighted some people, educated? You have a fleet of folks?
I wish I could find, yes, and I'm looking for dedicated individuals who are willing to expand their brain and see life from a different perspective so that they can help. Because it's time out now telling people what they can't do and how their body doesn't respond. Mm-hmm. These bodies are living biological life. They are physical manifestations of the Creator, and they are exemplifying that. So, this is the same old foolishness, just like, the Wright brothers had to hear about flying, and the same foolishness that...
the earth is
had
flat.
to hear about the telephone, and I just won't have it. So we know that every tissue in your body can regenerate.
Yes.
You must have the proper environment, and most of all, you've got to have the proper mindset. So as I said, my scientific journal is talking about how paraplegics think themselves into walking again. The last time I had said this on radio, you should have heard the very horrible, frightening statements, and I say frightening only because what I said frightened these individuals so much, they wanted to actually tell me foolishness about they wanted me to be tarred and feathered for giving hope to what they have already decided was the hopeless.
Hopeless, yeah.
Well, that's because you were talking to probably some European-dominated mindsets.
Of course I was, but it doesn't matter. The sun still shines regardless of whether Europeans wanted to or not, and that's how truth is. The truth is coming out whether anybody, I don't care what color you are, want to deal with it or not, and you better get out the way. You better not stand in the way of it, or you're going to get trampled.
How can we get in contact with you, Dr. Jewel Pookrum?
You can reach me at my email site, which is ovary@earthlink.net. You can reach me at my office, which is 404-288-9682.
288-9682.
Right. And so my thing is that, go to the literature. The literature is all there. This is what really bothers me. Look, when I wrote my book, Vitamins and Minerals from A to Z, do you know that they have been studying black people since the 1700s? They have been drawing our blood, pinching our tissues, everything. Mm-hmm. The University of Michigan is the largest data bank for race-specific attributes. Anything you want to know about different races, the University of Michigan has it. And that's why I put the references in my book. Professor Stanley Garn, Emeritus, talked to him personally, and he told me that when I wrote him and said, well, do you have anything specific on the differences between whites and blacks' hemoglobin? He said, well, you have to be more specific. We've done thousands of papers. So when I asked him to send me a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a whole package came. They have discerned our growth rate and development rate, neurologic development, bone density, muscle mass, everything. And they have identified its uniqueness. These authors who've written these papers talked about the fact that black people cannot be fed nutritionally the same foods as Caucasians because of the deficiencies that it would create. So whoever this person is making these statements, too bad they have to go argue with the data that's been collected over hundreds of years from tens of thousands of samples. This is not just a little study on 2 people. They've been collecting blood on thousands and thousands of school children, thousands and thousands of people hospitalized, and this is what they put out. Now, do you think that I have gone to one continuing medical education meeting on this given by the AMA?
Heck no.
Even though these doctors are attending black people in hospitals that hospitalize almost 100% black patients, they are still using Caucasian standards. Even though it's known that our hemoglobin is different at different levels than theirs, that our white blood cell counts are different. And it's time out for that now. This is the year 2000, and medicine must catch up. We are galactic beings, and it's embarrassing that here we are on Earth, and we've got the nerve to try to get up to the moon, go to Mars, and we can't even accept the uniqueness of another person based on their skin color and the texture of their hair. But, we want to be so happy and glad to go up here and deal with our sisters and brothers that may only have one eye, 2 fingers, and might be 12 feet tall. Now, you're going to embrace that so dearly, but you can't speak to me on the street. We need to stop these lies and illusions and take care of home first.
You ever think about opening up a church too, sister? Because you preaching.
Oh, wow.
This is so powerful.
Well, you
it's
just
so
hit
good,
my
sister.
passion, because I don't like the illusion of death. I don't like having to go out and tell the relatives of these people that they died. Now, if you want to die, you can do that. That's your own free will. But, to me, it's a different story when you come up in the hospital, because I'm assuming that you're coming saying that you really want to live. And it's my responsibility then to give you the 100% school try to make that happen. And when we intentionally withhold information from the physicians that are responsible for helping that to happen, then the whole thing is a lie.
So, sister, you are talking to a whole bunch of physicians now. I mean, we are in the belly of the beast. We are at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We are in the intellectual mecca of the world, Cambridge, Massachusetts.
And they know what I'm talking about, because they have the data in their databanks. They just do not disseminate it to the general public. So they're not shocked. They just probably are shocked that somebody is saying it, because it should have been kept under lock and key. That's probably what they're thinking.
Well,
Black Talk Radio.
How can we, those of us that aren't in the know, what references, what resources, what other things can we read to catch up with your scope of knowledge?
Well, it's interesting. Just subscribe to the Scientific America. Scientific American is putting out beautiful work on the latest that they can get a hold of and actually translate for layman intellect to be able to understand what's really available and what's happening. The neuroscientists, some of these magazines are much more difficult, and if you haven't been trained in the
Greek and Latin
nomenclature of medicine, it's difficult for you to translate. But Scientific America is excellent. Discover magazine is another that's excellent. That's bringing you up to par about what's happening. And if my colleagues are still sitting up there not reading these magazines and seeing what's actually coming off of the lab tables, then shame on them. And they should be embarrassed when the patients can bring the magazine and ask them, why haven't you told me this?
What about some more of your books, Doctor?
Well, I'm in the process of writing some special things. I'm in the process of completing this book entitled The Uterus, A Cosmic Science. Okay, because I'm very concerned about how women do not understand that this is a divine, awesome organ. And so now when they've gotten to the point where they can now grow uteruses from tissue culture in a petri dish and sell it to you, every woman should basically think about, if she's had a hysterectomy, how could this be? Because I was even taught in medical school that you tell the ladies that, well, it's no big thing. You're not going to have any more children. You really don't need it, so we just might as well take it out.
Wrong.
Okay. And my thing is that, if it's so important now, why are we spending hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars now growing them in the petri dish? The occasion where a woman is